All right, this is a quick video on how to map your Salesforce data onto Google Maps. This video will specifically be looking at mapping leads onto Google Maps, but you can loop in other objects like opportunities or accounts or contacts, etc. So for this, we've already created a report. So in order to do this, you're going to need a CSV file, and the CSV file will need to have a location of some kind, city, state, zip code, things like that. And you'll likely also want to have it obviously names, so names of accounts, names of opportunities, or in this case leads. In a previous video, we actually have at this link right here, and also posted in the description, is a previously built report out of Salesforce that was exported with leads designated by state. So we're going to go ahead and use that CSV file. When we open it, we're going to need to export this file. So when exporting, you're going to hit this little drop down caret right here. Go ahead and click export on your report. And there's a few parameters you're going to have to set. So first, you only want details. There's no need to have report headers, groupings, things like that. You'll also need it in a CSV format. So under format, we're going to have comma delimited value, I believe it is, but .csv is what we're wanting to save it as. And the encoding type, I believe there's a couple that will work, but I know for a fact the Unicode UTF-8 will work for Google Maps. There are a handful that do not work for Google Maps, so you'll need to make sure that you're pulling the right ones. We've already downloaded this report, so usually when you download a report from Salesforce, it'll be report followed by a lot of random numbers and then a .csv. So I'm going to go ahead and pull in this report, and I'm going to log into my Google Drive. The Google Drive will allow you to open your My Maps, which we're going to utilize in just a second, and you can also save your report simply to Google Drive if you prefer to do that as well. Once you're logged in, you're going to go to your New button, which you'll see on the side there. It's going to say plus and then the word New by it. And it'll give you a drop down. The drop down will have your kind of standard files, which everybody uses more regularly, which will be docs, sheets, slides, etc. But we want to go to More. And under More, you're going to find Google My Maps. And that's what we're going to select. Once you're in Google Maps, or Google My Maps, you're going to need to create a new map. When you first open it, it actually might skip this step. It might already take you to a new map. If it does not, you'll have a Create New Map button up there in the upper left. And then you're going to select that Create button when you get the pop-up. At the starting point, once you get your new map, it'll typically be designated around your location. So if you have your location shown, in my case I'm in the US, so the US is kind of populated central screen. If you're somewhere else, it may have your country or continent in the center screen there. But what we're looking for is this little import button over there on the left. We're going to import our file. And so when I click import, you'll have this little pop-up where it says choose a file to import. And I have my download icon here. And I can actually just take it and drag it over. So once I drag it over, you can also hit browse and then manually find your file. Also, that's an alternative. But I'm a big fan of just dragging it over. It tends to be a little bit faster for me. Once you drag it in, it's going to ask you a few questions. So first thing is, how is it going to place your landmarks? Is it going to base the landmarks off first name, last name? And again, this doesn't know what first name means. It's just a column with a name on it attached. But we happen to have a city and state column. And those are very obvious designations for where we want these landmarks to be placed. And you can actually pick multiple. If you have street address, if you have zip code, etc., you can start getting more refined as to where this is. And of course, being Google Maps, you can zoom in as far as you like. In our case, we only have city and state. I'm mostly concerned of just getting a kind of an overview of where my leads reside. So I'm going to go ahead and hit those two checkboxes, and you hit continue. And the next question is going to be, how do you want to name them? So each landmark is going to have a name. And in this case, a lot of times you'll be doing opportunities, or you'll be doing accounts or customers, perhaps. You want to see where your customers are located. And in that case, a lot of times you'll be doing it by account name. So if you sell to universities, you'll have the university and perhaps department. If you sell to other businesses, you'll have the business name attached. If you sell to individuals, you might have it by last name, or you might have first name, last name, something like that. In our case, I'm going to go ahead with company and account. So I want to see of all my leads, I'm going to name them based on account rather than individuals' names. I'm more interested as a whole where these entities reside. And then I go ahead and hit finish. Right when you get that, you'll get this populated similarly to this. So these are all my customers, or excuse me, all my leads. These are not customers yet, around the country and where they're located. So I can start to see where they're most densely populated. I can see where I have vacancies and where maybe I need to focus some activity to gain further leads. But this also kind of fits with the general population of the U.S., right? The East Coast tends to be more densely populated. This mountain region is very sparse. And then you get to the West Coast, it starts to get a little bit more dense again. So that might just be the nature of the population. You will notice they are all color-coded the same. That's because we have this based on uniform style. And I will be putting up another video to show you how to designate different colors for different types of accounts. So if I had multiple accounts, I can have accounts that are customers versus accounts that perhaps are not customers. Or if I have, maybe I sell to, let's say in the education world, you sell to school districts, universities, medical schools, something like that. You can have those color coded accordingly. So we'll do that on a later video. But the last thing we do want to give this is a name. So instead of having it saved in your Google Drive as untitled map, let's go ahead and save it as leads by state. So that way it means something to you. The big downside to this map is you will have to reload the data set if you want updated information. So each time you want to look again at your leads, you'll have to run that report again, pull it, and re-upload it accordingly. Anyway, I hope this was of help, and I find this mapping to be very useful in planning purposes, strategies, things like that in the sales cycle. I'll have more videos up shortly.